All right, great. Hey, thank you everyone for joining us today. This is LifeSafety Power. I've heard a lot about this company. A lot of us use it in low voltage nation. Mason Bortz is a big advocate for it. I know that John Laurie has some experience with it, as well as Marco Chaffia. They seem to enjoy the product. So we bring people on that we know and trust, especially that do access control stuff, because that's a big revenue stream for a lot of us. And if we can make it better and faster, easier, and more functional, then we are going to entertain the idea of using a product and bringing on vendors to this hot seat. So with that being said, thank you, Mason, for sponsoring this event. And I'm going to kick it over to you and just give a brief background as to what you do with LSP and how you enjoy it.
Yeah, so we started using LSP, I think maybe a year ago, maybe less than a year ago. Terry actually came to our office and kind of demoed a lot of the system, and went through and explained the benefits of it and what they do differently than the competition. And one thing that I liked about the product is it is kind of like the Chatsworth of the access control industry. We're all familiar with Chatsworth. We use Chatsworth. I would say a lot of the installations that you see in this industry are very similar to, like a nav point rack mounted up on the wall. And I think I was looking for a way of how do we do that system where anyone can look at it and go, oh, that's the way it's supposed to be done. And Terry was able to bring that over. Terry's able to show me how they do that. So I've been using them. We are able to get in with customers and show them the product. And, we may come in a little bit higher on our quotes, but we show how much it's worth because we can drop one can in and we're done. And depending on the system that you're going with, you can get it all wired ahead of time. Now, generally speaking, with like your Brevos and Paxton and, those other brands, you can't get that pro wired, so to speak, and I could be speaking wrong on that at this point, but I've really liked them. Also, another reason why I recommend them, we use them is the product support. I've been able to call Terry and say, hey, I'm missing this or I need this cable. They don't charge me for it. They just mail it out and they take care of me. And I think that's really great customer support when you can just call someone and say, hey, I'm putting this product together differently than you had recommended. And so because of that, I'm needing this, and this, can you send it to me? And he has. Obviously, I don't know if that's for every project, but for the ones that we've done, we've gotten really great support from that regard. And Terry has helped point me in other directions besides just their products. So, when I was looking at when I had questions about access control, he was there to help me. So I've been really impressed with their product line. I've been really impressed with their support. I've been really impressed with, the time they take with their customers, and the end product is really great. So I'll pass it along to Terry.
Mason, I greatly appreciate that. You put me on a pedestal that, boy, now it's time for me to fall back down. So, wow. First off, guys, I want to thank you for your time. Most important, this is your time. It's not my time. I want to thank Low Voltage Nation, especially Mason and Blake, for allowing me this time. And like I said, it's very valuable to you folks. I know how busy my work week is, and you guys are even twice as busy as I am. And I know that for a fact because, in short, my background, currently I'm with LifeSafety Power. Our company is based out of Libertyville, Chicago, and that's where our factory is. I've been in the industry for about 25-30 years. So I'm showing my age. But what I do for LifeSafety Power, I'm BDM, Business Development Manager for the Midwest. So I float around between Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, Western PA. Reside in Cleveland, Ohio. Prior, I was with Schneider Electric, so I know building automations as well. But in my 30 years, about 10 years in as a contractor doing design build type applications, I did some plan spec, but most of my stuff was design build. Primarily all security, distribution. I'm pretty familiar with low voltage. I know Bixby, I know RCDDs out there, so on and so forth. And I know distribution and sales. My approach to the product is not, hey, you need to buy this because it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. No. Give me a problem. I'll try to come up with a solution for you. If I don't, I'll try to find it. If you stop me and saw my shirt and saw my logo, LifeSafety Power, and asked me, what is that? I'll tell you, it's an intelligent, predictive, proactive power supply manufacturer, primarily in the access control industry. And that's exactly what we are. We are intelligent, predictive, and proactive. We set ourselves apart from our competition. Let's face it, our competition sells power in cans also. We do it as well, and we're priced out at the same level they are, if not better sometimes. But we build a better mousetrap. I'll save you time and money in the field, and I'll make you look good in front of your customer. Guaranteed. Before I go on to the next slide, lastly, purchasing our product. 3 methods: through access control OEMs, distribution, and direct. Our tech support is second to none. In fact, we just had a report from the company that recently purchased us. Currently, we are under ASSA ABLOY. ASSA ABLOY purchased LifeSafety Power about a year ago. And we have many, many advantages at our fingertips. One of them is our marketing capabilities. We came out with, they did what they call an NPS test. And we scored off the charts, higher than any other of their companies of ASSA ABLOY for customer service. Online, I feel it's very easy to follow. If we have time, I'm going to show you how to find a panel, come up with a part number in less than 2 minutes. And if you ever need support, we have a support tab and a learning center. I highly recommend you look at our application notes online. We have white papers all available as well. If you call in the tech support, we have 2 inside sales people, and we also have inside engineers that I know Mason has used as well, so I can get either CADs or Rivet files for you. And besides myself, we have a total of 4 direct factory sales, and we also use sales reps to cover the country. With much to do, our history, we've been in business for well over 10 years now. Came out with our Flex Power, and then we came up with networking capabilities, migrated over to unified solutions, came up with more intelligence in our MSM, our enterprise management system. And then as of recently, something called ProWire services. And unfortunately, we weren't able to display, nor nobody else at ISC West this year. We're coming out with a new product line from new power supplies, our Generation 2 power supplies. By the way, we are just going to replace the existing come 4th quarter and not charge you any additional costs right now by the end of the year, and giving you more features. We came out with a PoE line that I'm going to go over as well. Let's face it, guys, we play friendly with some of the big boys out there, your Linnells, Genetechs, Vigilons, Amegs, the list goes on. But we're agnostic. We play friendly with just about everybody out there. Hopefully you see 1 or 2 or 3 of the access control manufacturers that you folks support and like using. Yes, we have our feathers in our cap. We are in a lot of major markets, and we also are in very large Fortune 100 companies, from Amazon to Microsoft, to Google, Salesforce, and the government agencies, higher ed, you name it, we're there. All right, take it back a notch. 10 years ago, we said there's a better way of building a power supply and a power supply enclosure for your access control system. So if you look off on your left-hand side, traditional way of doing things. You usually see this still up on the wall, taking up a lot of wall real estate space. Got your access control panel enclosure that houses most of the controllers, so on and so forth. And we have a separate box connected via either conduit or wire trough for your system power and power distribution. Then sometimes you have a third box to handle just lock power. We said there's a better way of doing this. Came out with a design called Flex Power. It comes before Unified here. When you as a contractor know that now you have to wire back and forth between conduit and or wire trough, so it takes up a lot. You don't always have the luxury of having a lot of wall real estate space. Sometimes you're left with just about nothing out there. Now, we came out with then a couple of years later, Unified Power. Basically what unified means is we take the Flex Power solution, incorporating everything in one enclosure, and then coming up with the backplate per manufacturer, access control OEM that is, and we will pre-drill and pre-tap the holes per that access control manufacturer. So if you're using a Mercury-based system, like with a Vigilon, like with Phoenix, Panasonic now, the list just goes on. We have a solution for you. All right, move on to intelligence. We added then we added intelligence to it. Our power supply actually has intelligence on board. And with that intelligence, then we use a network card. We call it our NetLink, or I'll refer to it as an NL card. And that will be able to diagnose and see all the features and functionalities that are going on with the power supply and or other devices it's connected to. Last, not least, 3 years ago, we came out with ProWire. ProWire. When you are scoping out a job and you have 8 doors to put in a particular closet area, you would look at our Flex Power solution and say, hey, but I'm using Mercury boards, so why don't I just go with a Unified Power? Great. Come up with a Unified, come up with the size it out for the right power supply you need, size it out for then the lock boards and then the accessory boards. And if you want to add intelligence then as well. When you get Unified Power, you still have to wire all that together. That's where ProWire comes in. We become your panel builder. We can do it faster, easier, cheaper, and will be consistent all the time. I'll get into more details then later. Basically, this is what each of the enclosures look like. First, we start off with Flex Power. Build it, mix it, match it, whatever you want. Add in Unified Power, so you're adding a particular access control manufacturer that we've already pre-drilled that backplate for you. Then we go to ProWire. As I mentioned, fully modular mixable and matchable plug-and-play type solutions. We can encompass low voltage AC, low voltage DC, simple distribution, lock control distribution, managed power distribution, integrated access power backplates, and we can custom build it or pre-wire it to whichever way you like. Here's the most of the panels that we do incorporate into a unified type solution. First, our power supplies. We call them our FPO series. That's our flagship. Start off with 75 watt, 150 watt, 250 watt. If you notice I said watts, that's because we do things a little different. We follow Ohm's law, very simply put. All our power supplies are field switchable, either 12 or 24 volt. Now you know exactly how many amps you're pushing out if you know Ohm's law. So once again, I can encompass low voltage AC, low voltage DC, power distribution, smart management, and PoE all in one enclosure. Basically, When you design it and order it, it comes like this for you, just wired already together. The next thing you need to do is mount your access control controllers then. This back plate does remove from inside the enclosure. So if you have an electrical sub, you'd hand this off to an electrical. They would hang the enclosure for you, bring your 110 in to the AC on-off circuit breaker, and then you come back and mount your panel into this enclosure. Keep in mind, I did say some of these things are wired already. This is something we do that our competition does not. In a unified solution, we will automatically put the back plate in. It's already pre-drilled per the access control manufacturer you're using in a unified solution. Mount the power supplies on standoffs, your power distribution modules, and lock mount modules, and wire this, and give you an extra bag of standoffs. Keep in mind, I just saved you time and money in the field. Now, I keep on mentioning Mercury, but what about you guys that are using like Brevo out there? I hear it's very popular. Here's what a Brevo solution looks like in a 4 to 8 door, 8 door to 16 door, and so on and so forth. If you are confused, sometimes I will be able to give you a cross between your OEM, if it's a manufacturer we do business with, and I'll cross it to our part number versus the OEM's part number as well. One slight correction on this, I wasn't able to change it. I'm not that great with graphics. All these enclosures are from our E4s, E6s, E8s. The depth is 6.5 inches deep. If you're a Brevo dealer, you recognize some of those controllers, and here's what it looks like in either a single or dual voltage 8 door or 16 door type application. Basically, it's where all the components go. They're all put on and screwed standoffs. Everything's set up modular for power systems, very flexible, allowing you to pre-wire your boards. If you notice, we have wide channels so that you can easily for wire management. And like I said, the cabinet depth is 6.5 inches on these. Network optional. In a Mercury application, there's a lot of different manufacturers that I did mention that uses Mercury, and we do the same thing for Mercury as well. In a Mercury application, we start off with our E1 enclosure, go up to an E2, then E4. Underneath that, if you see, there's our part numbers for either a standard or managed system. Difference between the two. Standard, you don't have remote connectivity to it. Managed, you have a remote connectivity to it, and you are looking at a NetLink board in this to monitor your power supply and everything that's all the devices connected to the power supply, and your lock control board, which a standard lock control board would be a C8. Our managed, fully managed remote lock board is a M8. Then we go into a 8 and 16 door type applications with our E4s, E6, and E8. We even have a larger cabinet that I'm not displaying here, but I have a picture of it later. It's called our E12. That'll be able to handle in a Mercury application 24 doors. It's pretty big. It takes about 2 to 3 guys to mount that bad boy on a wall. Wall real estate space, it takes 3 to 4 feet. So 36 inches by 48 inches. Now, I've been talking about wall mount. We do have a rack mount solution for those pain in the butt IT directors that have to have everything going into your MDFs or IDFs out there. We have a rack mount solution. Comes in 75 watt or 150 watt. We even have wire management capabilities in the back of the rack. We call it our Z bracket, which allow you then to bring the wire in safely without pinching it, so allowing you to pull that drawer back and forth. Rack mount space, this takes up, each of the enclosures take up 2 RMUs. We have a separate drawer for batteries. as you notice, we're coming up with more and more solutions for different applications out there. Even some unique things we come up with. If you got a real tight situation, you need to cram everything into the smallest enclosure possible. We come up with unique little tips and tricks. Hinge standoffs is an outstanding solution in case you need to do a little bit of space saving. Yeah, it gets a little tight in the cabinet for wiring, but it solves a problem. We even came out with a network solution that we teamed up with Mercury called OneDrop. As I mentioned, our NetLink device that does remote monitoring capability requires a data drop. Well, so does your intelligent control board. We said there's a smarter way of doing it, so we teamed up with Mercury. We decided to piggyback off of Mercury's micro USB port. I don't know if you folks are aware of this, but the reason why Mercury had to switch from EPs to LP boards, and that's because the processing power of the EP board, it was lacking. And what that caused was a lot of cybersecurity issues. So with the change of the new boards came with the addition and micro USB port. So we came up with a solution called OneDrop. We piggyback off of the micro USB port to this approved media converter. And then now we connect that to our NetLink device. So we are getting communication off of the Mercury board from one data drop. That's pretty cool. Once again, saving you time and money, saving you a data drop in the field, and coming up with a better solution. All right, let's take it back a notch. What really separates LifeSafety Power from our competition out there? A lot going on here in the slide. I don't know if you've ever seen one of our power supplies, but what you're looking at is our FPO 250, 250 watt. We have a 75 watt, 150 watt, and a 250 in an FPO series. I constantly get integrators that are using competition going, well, how many amps are you got? Well, guys, I'm going to ask you the question. What do you have the power supply switched to? 12 or 24 volts. That'll determine how many amps my power supply is pushing out. Pretty simple. That's called Ohm's law. Other features we have on our power supply that our competition doesn't have. We got 120 and 230. I did mention we have a rack mount solution. What's your power in an MDF? 208. Now you don't have to run a dedicated electrical to it. I just saved you money. We pride ourselves on multiple UL listings on all the products that we manufacture. We also have Canadian listings and across the pond if you need them. But what we also have, we have network connectivity, as I mentioned. But what really sets us apart, got two transformers on board. Those are those two yellow dashes right there. And I did say two. Our competition only has one. So that means I will always, always deliver clean, true power to all your devices, including your access control boards, your locks, and all accessories, and your batteries. How do I do it? First transformer is a high efficiency transformer. Second transformer, its sole purpose in life is to monitor your power hog, your batteries, recharging those batteries inside that enclosure. That second transformer also has a micro USB attached to it. It's dedicated. So I'll give you an example. Currently, right now, you got a lot of power outages. They last for longer than a minute or two. Sometimes they last for an hour because of storms. Power comes back up. After running on battery backup, you go into trickle charge with most competitors, not us. We're start off automatically behind the scenes, noticing that we were down for a long time, and we're start ramping up those batteries at 2 amps, then go to an amp and a half, then a full amp, then a half an amp, then to a trickle charge. We'll bring a battery up in 30% faster capability. Lifetime warranty on everything we sell. Once again, lifetime warranty on all components. We have a dual output, continuous and/or switched. Guys, these power supplies are meant for access control industry. They have FAI on board, fire alarm interface. That's so important. My competition, some of their power supplies require an extra board to do this. I got programmable fault delays. And I said, I'm going to save you time and money in the field. How do I do it? Diagnostics. I do it with LED lights. Blaring in front of your face. Very simple. FAI status. I'll light up like a red Christmas tree for you. Ground fault indicator. AC fault indicator. System fault indicator. Lastly, what my competition does only tells you that I'm getting AC power. I can do that as well. Big deal. I'm going to solve 70% of your problems by just showing these lights for you. I'm going to show you on my DC1 and DC2 what voltage is coming out in a different color LED light. Every time you see a green LED light coming out of the outputs, it means 12 volts. Every time you see blue, means 24 volt. Now, you as a technician diagnosing a panel or trying to figure out what your lock port is putting out, you usually have to pull out a voltmeter. Not with me. I'll show you by a color of an LED for you. Even if you go back and test the batteries and accidentally reverse the contacts, I'll light up and also tell you, hey, you better unplug me because I'm about ready to blow up on you. And so I'll light up and tell you better reverse your battery lights, your contacts for you. When you open up the cabinet, this is very easily diagnosed and you can see it. I mentioned we got two transformers on board, and the high efficiency transformer that puts out a consistent voltage. Here's the difference between us and them, my competition and them. Your locks, 25 volts or 12 volts, depending on what you have set up, but your battery voltage is requiring a different voltage, 27.4 to be exact. What does my competition do? They take the two voltage, they add them up, split the difference, put out a constant 26.4 volts, that is. What does that do? One, makes your locks run hot. Two, won't fully charge your battery. So our approach, what we call lock safe, I'll push out constant voltage, correct voltage to your locks and a different voltage, what the voltage is required to your batteries, and recharge them faster and make your equipment run longer. All right. Usually 10 or more doors, you use two power supplies. Advantages of a dual bus. Take two power supplies. They can be an FPO 75 and a 150 or a 150 and a 250. Doesn't matter. Distribute FAI signal to each and every port to the power distribution module, your D8, and then your lock board, your C8 or remote board, M8, and I'll distribute 12 and 24 volt, which I will show what I call outsmart, showing you in colored LED lights what the voltage is going to each and every port. Okay, what about 60% of your installs out there that are 8 doors or less? I don't have as much wall real estate space. I want to save money and space by putting up a smaller enclosure, and I just want to use one power supply. But wait a second. I said it's either switch 12 or 24 volt. Not if you add what we call our B100 board. Integrator cost runs around $36 for you. It's like a step-down transformer. So what you do is you run power to your main power supply, switch it to 24 volts. I will distribute FAI signal to each and every port, run 24 volts out of the main power supply, and run 12 then out of my B100 board. I got another name for this board. I call it a cover your ass board. You ever did a walkthrough and looked at 6 locks on a job and said, yeah, strike, 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 all 24 volt, 24 volt. And then all of a sudden came back and put a power supply up and go, oh, crap, those last 2 doors I didn't check. They're at 12 volts. Great. Now you got to put another box on the wall, another power supply. Not in our case. If you just include that B100 board, you got both 12 and 24 from a single power supply. Plus, there's an extra port on that B100 board. I can dial in a voltage anywhere from 5 volts to 18 volts. So now you don't have to find a space or a safe haven for a brick or a wall wart. I can hardwire it right to my B100. Now you know why I call it a cover your ass board. All right. Sets us apart from competition. We do 4-hour burn-in time on all our boards. Designed to run 24/7. And I can preach about the high quality all day long. Not to mention lifetime warranty. All right, our Achilles heel in our company, our part numbers. Why? Because we can mix and match and build anything the way you want. So our part number scheme, which if we have time, I'll drive on my webpage and I'll show you how easy it is to find a 4-door solution or an 8-door solution or a 16-door solution. First, we start off with power supply. If you have 1 or 2, there you go. It'd be an FPO 75, or if you had 2, it'd be an FPO 75/150. Then your accessory boards. What did I say? If you want for 8 doors, put an FPO 150 in, add a B100. Now I got 12 and 24 volts. Add your lock distribution boards and your auxiliary boards for the next part numbers. Then you choose the size of your enclosure from an E1 all the way to an E8. And if you're using a mercury backboard, or a solution, I should say, put an M at the end. If you're using Paxton, put a P at the end. That's how we do our numbering scheme. Lastly, ProWire. As I mentioned, unified solutions, you guys get it and have to wire it. God forbid any of your enclosures look like this out there. I'm sure a lot of you have ran into the field and said, hey, looking to take over a system and this is what you run into. If they had ProWire, it'd end up looking like this. Standardized look across the board. Mercury solution, software house, or AMEG. Everything will look considered consistent look to it. Everything. What do? We do system power, we do lock control, we do a tamper switch, we wire for faults, we wire RS-45 communication, and we include wire management in it. Consistent look for every job, eliminates wiring errors, reduce time and costs. We can drop ship this to any site. We can maintenance and troubleshoot just about anywhere. And that's networkable, upgradable in the future. As you notice, we can do it in either finger duct, or we call it Panduit, wire mold, whatever you want to call it, tie wrap, and we can do it in a rack mount solution. It'll always be consistent. Standard factory wiring schemes. Our wire color codes will always be consistent. If you ordered 50 of these panels from me, the first 10 will look like this, and the last 10 will look like this. Now, I know you guys are proud of your wiring and can do it neat and clean and be consistent. But what if you got that job, that big job, let's say 10 schools, and your required time is to complete in 2 months? Now you have to build a panel out. We know from experience to build a 16-door enclosure, to make it look the way we make it look, and to test it and certify it, it'll take you anywhere from 6 to 7, maybe 6 to 8 hours. All right, 10 schools, you got 15 panels. That's 15 days you just lost. We become your panel builder for you. What I'm showing you here, we got 2 different panels. We have a 16-door solution with wire mold, or Panduit as we call it, and we have tie wrap solution. You would purchase a particular panel like this, take the inner panel out. I said it is removable. Hold on to it, keep it in a safe place, hand this off to an electrical. Electrical will mount your cabinet for you, pull your power in. You come back, mount the panel back into it, and then look at the labeled backplane, and it shows you where your controller boards go. It's a mercury application install, it'll say LP 1502 or 1501 or MR 52. If you notice, we even terminate the Phoenix clips and label them for you. So all you're doing is mounting the panels, your controllers that is, to the standoffs that are labeled properly, and plugging in your Phoenix clips, and then pulling in each of your all your door hardware to each of the control boards. Always standard wiring codes, as I mentioned. We will also deliver CAD or rivet files for your as-built or for submittals if you need them for an A&E, what have you. There's going to save you some more time as well. We do system lock and power, AC system and faults, internal communication, and tamper switch. By the way, it's all UL rated. I know you guys have Bixby certifications and RCDDs out there. Not a whole lot of panel shops out there are UL rated. We can perform and deliver that to you. Tire wrap or Panduit, as I mentioned. Here's the big boy. 24 doors in a Mercury application. We even came up with ProWire Plus. ProWire Plus is where we can even add termination strips. This starts looking more and more like a electrical job, because now we terminate everything to the Mercury boards where you're just terminating to the termination strips. If you ever have an application like this and really need to cram a lot in, but don't want anybody else like a subcontractor to touch your Mercury boards, this is a great application. Once again, I highly recommend calling me or calling somebody else, one of our engineers inside, and we will discuss on how to build this out. Since this is such a large cabinet, we use French doors to doors in the front to deeper depth, 8 inches deep. We put in a dual AC outlet into this cabinet. Part number for ProWire. Same as Unified Solution, but at the end, if you notice, we add a slash and we call it T8. T stands for tie wrap, 8 stands for 8 doors. And if it's a Mercury application, we need to know what kind of boards you're putting in this panel so that we can wire it properly. All right, before I continue on, any questions out there? How am I doing on time? Did I put anybody to sleep?
I'm wide awake, and I don't see any questions, but I did drop a little note into the chat to see if anybody had some. I also put it in the Gold support channel in Slack, so if anybody has any questions. But feel free to, if anybody wants to chime in right now and ask a couple questions before we continue.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to continue on because you guys are going to love this part. Here's where we really set ourselves apart. Here's where we really shine. Network powered solutions. This is our managed solution. What are we doing? Remotely, I can see and have visibility of my power supplies, my locking devices, standby batteries, power, access controllers, and critical events and logs. When I say intelligence and what am I networking, like I said, our network panels, our NL2, our NL4, and NLX panels, and our remote lock board, which we call our M8. What am I doing with these? I'm looking at several different things. First, I'm looking at battery performance. Guys, how are you doing it right now? That's a facetious question because I can tell you how you're doing it right now. Sharpie, born on date. You guys ask your customer in an 8-door application, hey, how much backup time do you want if the power goes out? I don't know, most of them, or some of them may be smart or intelligent and say, yeah, I need 4 to 6 hours. Great. So now you sized those 8 doors under load, know what the requirements are, and put in the proper sized batteries to handle keeping those doors under load up for 4 to 6 hours. The other way is When you test to see if the batteries are still good 2 years later, you send a tech over. You guys unplug the terminals, put a meter test on them, test the batteries. That's not under load. Proper way of doing it is to test these batteries under load. What you rated those batteries for, how long to keep those 8 doors up for 4 to 6 hours. All right. So what I can do is, besides seeing battery voltage and the capabilities of the batteries and see the voltage being put out, I can set a schedule. I can set a schedule to reoccur every 90 days, every 100 days, whatever you set it for, to do a test on those 8 doors under load. I will physically drop AC power under load. I will deliver a test result. If it comes back below the recommended amount of time, it'll give you an email notification. Now I know it's time to replace those batteries. Pretty cool. I said I'm an intelligent, predictive, and proactive company. I can predict when a lock is going to fail. I can do it 2 ways. You guys are pretty quick out there. I'm sure you are. You probably figure it out with my M8 board. If I put the parameters in of what that lock needs for power, and I can see the power, I know what voltage it's set at. I know the amps. I know exactly what the power requirements are, and I know the watts. If I set a threshold above 30 or below 30%, I will send an email notification once it breaks those parameters. Pretty easy. Second way I can predict when a lock is going to fail, I do cycle counts. If it's a new install, I'll start counting from day 1. Since we're owned by ASSA ABLOY, ASSA has told us strikes have a rating. After that, they go out of warranty. That rating is roughly about 500,000 attempts. If you go beyond that, you hit over 5,000, it will send an email notification to you. Pretty cool. Any of you guys have temperamental boards that don't like to come up if you lose power? Give you an example. You lose power, can goes down, you're on battery backup, power comes back up, but your controller boards don't come back up. Well, I can unlock frozen equipment remotely, including a PTZ or whatever else I have connected to it. Lastly, I monitor temperature inside the cabinet and outside the cabinet. I'm going to fly through these because I'm looking at my time at about 40 minutes. I got some more things to show you, but it's browser-based software. It's free. Here's what it looks like: the system dashboard of the NL device, the power supplies itself, and the lock controllers. If you notice, I'm looking at the specific site ID, cabinet data, system log history. I log over 1,000 events. This is timed out as well. I can see the power supplies and my remote lock boards. Power status, history, status of the batteries, remote battery testing loads, battery test results, then my device lock power boards, my M8s, I can see. Drill down into an M8. This is looking at an M8 and each of the 8 doors that are attached to it. I can see my voltage, my currents, my amps, my watts. Everything is live and labeled. I can open and close outputs and inputs. I can change my FAI status remotely in case needed. What if I have a large campus and I have a dozen cabinets out there? That means I have, and I'm using all managed solutions. I got an NL device in every one of my cabinets out there. I'm not going to browser base into every one of them. So we do have a software. It's called our MSM tool. It's a dashboard for all our NL devices out there. It's pretty cool. I can get into very, very granular, detailed troubleshooting, and I can graph power results, temperature results, every time, you name it, I can do it. All right, new equipment. I mentioned a little teaser. Guys, I got a PoE solution. What if I told you I have a component that I can, out at the edge, control 4 doors by just over Ethernet cable. We recommend Cat 6, of course. But we have a solution for that. I can push out 75 watts, 12 and 24 volts without putting in 110 power out at the edge. As you can see, I can do, it's basically high powered and a managed midspan injector, utilizing either or our BX50 or BX75. As you know, it would be 50 watts or 75 watts, 12 and 24 volts. Basically, this is showing you how we push it out from our midspan to the BX series, and then how we then wire to our locks, our Rexes, our push to exit, and our access control board, all over PoE. That's pretty cool. This is all ran and managed through our midspan, high-powered midspan for you. It's our BT500. We have network monitoring built into this device as well. Then our two high-power in the field power supplies all have FAI capabilities, smart charging capabilities for your batteries. Outsmart, so I'll be able to show you 12 and 24 by the colored lamps, LED lamps, what power each port's pushing out. Specifications on each. We can always go over these a little bit more in depth later. If you ever have any questions, please call us, but we have this option available for you. And the different batteries, like I said, how we can charge them, FAI function built in. And how you would add your C8 and or D8 or F8 boards to the power supply and traditional mounting into each of the different enclosures. Here's showing you how we can power over a high-powered midspan both PoE cameras and each of your door locations. And the different schematics, how we can build out those enclosures for you. Once again, if you have any questions on this, please don't hesitate, call us, or we'll get you in front of our engineering team and show you how we design this for a PoE type application. Last but not least, our new series, since we did not have ISC West this year, we're coming out with in Q4 our Gen 2 power supplies, same footprint, same power outages, same power capabilities as our normal FPO series, but with added features, new enhanced features. Instead of a fused output for your DC1, DC2, no more fuses, built-in overload protection. Monitors an output in the short. If you have a short in the line, it will not come back up until you fix that short. We have visual voltage indicators, as always. Can power batteries the same way. One thing we noticed, we have a built-in low battery circuit cutoff circuitry for our power supplies and to the batteries currently on them. No more. We are now incorporating this onto the board with our new Gen 2. We have the capability of doing both sealed lead acid or lithium iron batteries. Nobody else can do this. And then enhanced features on communication. One enhancement, we can monitor AC voltage coming in. Very, very important. You set an upper and a lower limit. If it breaks either of those, it'll send you an email notification. No more finger pointing on from your end user and them telling you that your controllers aren't working or the doors aren't working properly. That's because you keep on losing AC or have bad AC coming to your power supply. I can remotely turn on and off and recycle the entire cabinet besides just devices. And new communication through RS-45, enhanced. Before on our NLX, we can see 8 devices. Now we can see up to 64 doors with one network drop. Our competition has to use 8 network drops to do this, saving you time and money in the field. And if you notice MSRP pricing, our FPO 75, $161. All the way up to the 250, it's $333. Ever case needed, we have A&E support, CADs, rivet files. We have video training online if case needed, ever. And like I said, multiple UL listings. I went about 5 minutes over. I wanted to take 45 minutes. I'm at 50 minutes. I am done. If you have any questions, please.
Yeah. So there's a couple things, but I did
ask them.
Yeah. Thanks, Terry. I appreciate it. Good timing. So I wanted to kick over to Raymond Karam. He did post a question on PoE. So, hey, Raymond, are you available to ask the question, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I was wondering that mid-span that you guys offer, can it also be used with lighting solutions like Genesis Lighting?
Yeah, as long as it falls within the power requirements. Okay. Remember, all it is it's a high-powered mid-span. So you're pushing out power.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you.
But yes, we would love to entertain that type of application.
Okay.
Thanks, Raymond. Well, so there was possibly another question, but it's kind of interesting because I'm chatting with John Laurie right now in Slack, and he ran Mercury firmware for 10 years, so he's actually very familiar with LSP, and he also developed the firmware for some of the battery solutions for the NL boards. So I don't know, John, if you said you may have some questions, possibly. You didn't really. Oh yeah, you do have a question. Did you want to go ahead and ask that that you just posted? And it's also very interesting because, as the presentation's going on, because I don't know a lot about this stuff, but it's actually very, very cool stuff that LSP has going on. But I'm also getting the inside scoop from John Laurie because he has so much of this information from his work at Mercury. So it's very interesting. So John, if you wanted to take it away. John, are you on mute? So the question is, do any PAX systems use the feature in which the LSP hardware presents as a giant Mercury downstream board?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Yep.
I'll have to ask engineering on that one.
I got
if
you.
If you can, please send it over to me in an email, and I would definitely get an answer.
Yeah. Yeah, he says he has microphone issues, but if you could see the chat, there's the chat screen on the right-hand side. Okay.
I just went into presentation mode again.
Yeah.
I wanted to show you something real quick.
Sure. Go for it.
And that's, I kept on mentioning, let's show you how to come up with a part number, how easy it is.
Yep.
As you can see on my screen, you see our webpage. This is our home webpage. You just hit access control. After you hit access control, you see unified power. You choose the solution that you want. Let's say it's a Mercury solution. Click on Mercury. I'm going to ask you some basic questions. Are you going with just a single voltage, a dual voltage, or a dual voltage managed? Remember I told you the difference between standard and managed? Now, I'll ask you how many doors. Let's say you want to do a 16-door dual voltage. 16-door dual voltage. If you notice, I have a couple selections here. One here, 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 and here. The difference, I know the difference between all of them is the cabinet size. It's pretty much the basic difference. E8M2, E8M1, E6, smaller enclosure, and even a smaller, very small enclosure, E4M1. If you click on the larger cabinet, say I got enough wall real estate space to handle a 36 by 30 cabinet, click on it. There you go. All the boards that come in it, where they're going to be placed, and where your Mercury boards go. If you scroll through, you'll see the placement of each of the and the specs on the actual cabinet itself. That's how easy it is to pull it up. Now, let's say you're a visual person and you need to actually see this. Click home. I'm going to go into LSP configurator. Click on the LSP configurator. Once again, I'm going to go unified, Mercury, 16 door. This time I'm going to go into a fully managed. I have 3 solutions, an E4M1, E6M1, E8M1. I'm going to go in my larger, let's go to the larger cabinet. Give it a little time to come up because I got a lot of graphics going on. But as you notice, and my data is not that fast here at my home, but as you notice, it just populated. Showed you what my spec sheet looked like before, but let's say you want to see where those Mercury boards are going to go. Click on Mercury. Boards are going to be relabeled here soon, LP 1502s, but you grab one, drag and drop, place it. Rest of the boards are going to be MR52s, drag and drop. You get the idea. And lastly, I'm going to, if you get me over everyone's email address, I will give them the login capabilities of logging into this. This is called our product finder, our product, and our configurator. Our configurator will look exactly what I just showed you. You can copy and paste a particular part number, or you can go into the finder. I just did a reset to it real quick. You're going to click on Unified. I'm going to, let's switch it up a little bit. I'm going to go Brevo. Wall mount. I'm going to do an 8-door location. Scroll back. There's my selections. Let's narrow this down into a dual voltage. Take a look at my selections. I'm down to 3. I know it by the enclosure sizes. Let's go basic. And we don't have a basic solution for you. We only got managed, most likely. If you want, you need to change it, but there's your part number. Click on information. Tells you everything you're getting into it. Now, if you want to find the price, copy and paste. Go to my product. Let it build real quick, and I will go into product search. Come on. Give it a second to rebuild. Come on. Rebuild itself. Oh, my computer's running slow. Sorry, guys. You get the idea. Once you get into product, you will then be able to then search. Open up a new one.
I did want to jump in while Terry's going through that. Typically, we buy most of all of our LifeSafety Power stuff from ADI. So if you have an account with ADI, you can get all your LifeSafety Power
You can
stuff
pull up
through
the price
ADI.
of it as well.
Yep. So we typically buy from that. Now, if you shop with like Phoenix, for example, I don't know, I'm sure Brevo carries them. You can buy them through that distributor as well. So, we use Brevo and Paxton, and then we're getting more and more into Mercury. But anything Paxton related we'll buy, or even Brevo we'll buy through ADI, and then with Phoenix we buy that all through them. So, did want to let you guys know that.
Well, typically then you just, sorry, for some reason it's not allowing me to pull it up. But once you request a login, you'll be able to pull up MSRP pricing on all your products. So now you don't even have to wait for somebody at ADI. You already know what your discount level is at ADI. Let's say it's, 40% off or 36% off, whatever the case may be. We'll give you the MSRP on the product guide, and you'll be able to come up with your costs without waiting for somebody. There we go. It finally populated. Boy, that took for a while. And if you look, there's your MSRP pricing. Done. Guys, any other questions?
John, did you get your mic to work?
I don't think he did. No,
Gotcha.
I don't see any other questions. Mason, did you have anything else you wanted to add to the?
We've used LifeSafety Power for the couple of packs and systems that we've done. I know Marco has used them for Brevo. I don't know if there's anything Marco wanted to jump on and discuss. And I guess Marco said he's going to be reaching out. So we've been really happy with them. I know Marco's been using them longer than I have. And I got nothing here to add. Terry kind of went through everything. I will say the NL4 unit that allows you to get the network connectivity is nice because you can power cycle boards if you need to. So we've done that before, where if you can't get into the IT cabinet, let's say, or the IT room, and you need to power cycle because you got to get them on a different IP address, you're having an issue, something's hanging up, you can log into your NL4 board and power cycle it, power cycle the whole unit. So I know, though, Terry's mentioned, is there a new power supply? You'll be able to power cycle the whole can, so that'll be nice as well. But that's really my thing I wanted to add in there.
Well, thank you. Hey, honestly, I'm going to add a little bit to Mason's note. The NL4, let's say average cost for you guys is just a little over $200. What does that service call cost for you to roll a truck and go out and do a hard reset to that board just because it flaked out on you? That's the way we look at it.
Marco said he can't unmute.
Yeah, and then John's also having issues unmuting. Huh. I don't know, guys. Wish I could help. I'm trying to unmute you guys, but it's not working.
How about now?
Yeah, now it's working.
Star 6 if you're on the phone. But anyway,
that's Marco. Okay, you're on the phone right now. Yeah, what's up?
I am, because why wouldn't I be on the road? But anyway, I just want to say, Terry, thank you for that. I know, like Mason's been saying, we use a boatload of them. We probably put 5 or 6 of the 250 panels in this year, with the mostly Brevo. And just like you guys, you're saying, the network interface is phenomenal. Being able to just access everything and see the voltages and change things on the fly, and just the flexibility. It's bar none, really. So I really appreciate you guys and the panel and everything that you guys are putting into the R&D on all aspects.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I do admit we take a lot of criticism. Well, if there's something out there that you come up with, please send me a note, call me and say, hey, have you ever thought about this? We have the capability, and we have been able to integrate ideas like that on the fly. I mean, I'm talking within a year, I've seen product development go, you're right. We're going to give it a shot. And we discuss it as a team. And not even a year later, we put it into our equipment. It's very remarkable that a company is able to do that on a fly.
I guess, is there anyone else that wants to add anything to that, or are we all good?
I really wish John had jumped in. I wanted to hear what he had to say, but
Yeah.
it's all good. Anything else, Mason? Or other than that, we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah. I guess, Blake, I'm sure you'll get Terry's contact information out if anyone wants to reach out.
Yep.
We'll get that distributed out. And so if anyone's doing a project, reach out to Terry, and everyone have a great rest of your Thursday.
Great. Once again, Mason, Blake, thank you for the time and the opportunity. Guys, the rest of you out there, stay healthy, stay safe, and appreciate your time spent today. Thank you again.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye.